1984 é um dos romances mais lidos do século XX e, no entanto, é um dos mais mal compreendidos.
I think one of the tragedies of Orwell is that he became a pawn in the Cold War, when in fact he was very much opposed to the kind of society that represented by British capitalism or American capitalism post-war. Point about 1984, that there are three blocks in the world, all fighting each other and moving around fighting each other at different times. 1 minute you're fighting, the American bloc is fighting Russia, the next minute is fighting China, and that's exactly describes the society actually that happened after 1984 was published. It's an attack on bureaucratic, lying society, and not just Russian society.
Tal como o herói do romance Winston Smith, George Orwell foi criado e trabalhou muitas vezes dentro das instituições de uma sociedade controladora. E, no entanto, tal como Smith, acabou por se opor a ela. No decorrer da sua vida assistiu aos efeitos do poder e dos seus abusos e advogou apaixonadamente a busca da liberdade e da verdade. Até 1947, o imenso subcontinente da Índia foi governado pelos britânicos, ou mais precisamente, pela alta classe média britânica. Foi aqui na cidade de bengali de Motihari que, a 25 de junho de 1903, nasceu Eric Arthur Blair. Embora o seu nome tenha ficado para sempre na obscuridade, o pseudónimo que adotou viria a trazer-lhe fama mundial como escritor, George Orwell.
He came from an extremely conventional background in an extremely conventional time. He was born in Bengal. His father worked in the opium department of the India office, which was the sort of centerpiece of British imperialism in India, which was selling opium to the masses, really. And he grew up in that very narrow upper middle class convention of British imperialism in India at that time.
Em 1904, Ida Blair regressou à Inglaterra com Eric e a sua irmã mais velha, Avril, para Eric poder ser educado. O pai, Richard, continuou em Bengala e durante os 7 anos que se seguiram apenas viu os filhos uma vez. Ida instalou-se num subúrbio próspero de Henley-upon-Thames. Eric passava a maior parte do tempo em casa, desenvolvendo o seu interesse pela pólvora e por exuberantes postais ilustrados da costa. O seu comportamento já na altura era considerado estranho pelos outros, tal como recorda a sua vizinha do lado, Jacinta Butticum.
Where you see that rose bush, there was in those days a wire fence, and Eric was on this side of the fence in the field, standing on his head, and we were in the garden of the house the other side. He was standing on his head, and I think somebody or other said, why are you standing on your head? And he said, you'll notice more if you stand on your head than if you're right way up. And that's a remark that we've always remembered because it was so typical of Eric. The Blairs, I suppose, probably hadn't been at Roselawn very long then, and he was looking around to see who he could pick up, and he picked up us. He gave me that crucifix when he gave me Dracula. It's got the Virgin and Child on one side and the Christ on the crucifix on the other. And he gave me that, and he also gave me a clove of garlic in order to protect me from Dracula.
Fascinavam-no os vampiros e outras lendas. O modo como as sociedades forneciam mitos, histórias e mentiras aos seus povos iria tornar-se uma preocupação para ele durante toda a vida. Num artigo de 1944, fazendo uma retrospectiva da sua mais tenra infância, ele enumerou várias crenças que os pais, tal como as instituições sociais, impingem aos filhos.
Artigo de 1944. Que um cisne pode quebrar-nos uma perna com bater de asas. Que se nos cortarmos entre o polegar e o indicador, ficamos com um trismo. Que os touros ficam furiosos à vista do vermelho.
Com 8 anos, quando Eric entrou para a escola de São Cipriano, perto de Eastbourne, foi confrontado com toda uma nova série de falácias. Que os regimes espartanos e a intimidação eram bons para os rapazes, que o dinheiro e a classe eram medidas verdadeiras do valor de uma pessoa. Eric não se adaptava. Menos abastado do que as outras crianças, ele não era nem popular, nem bom nos desportos, nem era suficientemente duro para se defender nas lutas do recreio.
He was a recluse. He kept himself to himself and didn't seem to have the same sort of things to interest him as normal boys. He he was much bullied on that account.
Não é fácil para mim pensar nos meus dias de escola sem parecer respirar uma baforada de algo frio e mal cheiroso. Uma espécie de mistura de meias suadas, toalhas sujas, cheiros fecais a parar ao longo dos corredores, garfos com comida velha entre os dentes, guisado de pescoço de carneiro, o bater das portas nos balneários e os bacios a ecoar nos dormitórios. Such were joys, póstumo.
Mesmo antes de fazer 14 anos, Eric entrou para a escola mais prestigiada de todas, o Colégio de Eton. Muitos dos alunos de Eton tinham bolsas e, embora fosse um bastião de classe e snobismo, o Colégio de Eton encorajava o individualismo entre os seus alunos.
We did start, both of us, to write poetry, and we did show it to each other. And I've got a letter, I think it must be the first known Orwell manuscript that there is, which is his criticism of a piece of poetry of mine. And then this is written in Orwell's very, very adult handwriting, quite different from most schoolboys.
Indeed,
Dashed good, slight repetition, scansion meaning a little ambiguous in places, epithets for the most part well selected. The whole thing is neat, elegant and polished. E.A. Blair.
He wasn't terribly interested in the academic side of school life. And in a way, I felt certainly in the later years, he was longing for the moment when he could get away from it. I left Eton a little before he did, so I got a scholarship at Cambridge, which they wouldn't hold over. And he wasn't jealous of me going to Cambridge. I don't think he wanted to go to a university. I think it's the idea that he was thwarted from going to university, I think, is quite wrong. He always talked about going back to the East. He was absolutely fascinated by that. He had very early memories of it, which I think were glamorized.
A 27 de outubro de 1922, Blair navegou para a Birmânia para se alistar na polícia birmanesa. Mas a visão sentimental que ele construíra do Oriente apresentava pouca semelhança com a realidade que teve de enfrentar enquanto lá esteve.
In Burma, he was very lonely. There was no one worthy of him to talk to. He was rather isolated among the whiskey drinking, rather, usual Indian bosses. And he never made friends much in India. In Burma, rather, he was pretty lonely.
I think he thought we ought not to be there, but he was pro what we had done for the country. I was, at any rate, I believed in the white man's burden and all that kind of thing. And it is a true thing. It's a silly way of putting it, but we only have to look at what has happened to all these countries that have been given their freedom and what's gone wrong in the process. And under European rules, includes French or Spanish or whatever it might be, the locals knew what they could do, what they could not do, and they knew they would get justice.
When he went out to India, in the Indian police, he hated the job. He hated his fellow police officers. He hated, for instance, the continuous hanging that was going on there. I mean, when you look at the number of hangings, there were about 3 hangings a day in Burma, where he was at that time. And he wrote about that in great detestation, hated capital punishment all his life.
É curioso que até aquele momento eu nunca tinha compreendido o que significa destruir um homem saudável e consciente. Quando vi o prisioneiro desviar-se da poça, com um passo ao lado, vi o mistério, o erro indescritível de interromper uma vida em plena pujança. Este homem não estava a morrer. Estava tão vivo como nós. Todos os órgãos do seu corpo funcionavam. Ele e nós fazíamos parte da caminhada do homem lado a lado, vendo, ouvindo, sentindo, compreendendo o mesmo mundo, e em 2 minutos, com um golpe súbito, um de nós tinha desaparecido. A Hanging, 1931.
He wrote a novel, Burmese Days, in which he spoke about. He said, even those poor bloody fools at the club might be better company if we weren't all of us living a lie the whole time. The lie that we're here to uplift our poor black brothers instead of to rob them. I mean, I think in a way that's exactly how he felt. Is it? And this idea of lying, which is a central feature of many of his writings, that You're telling lies about the world we live in. Everybody's telling lies about it. It's something that occurs to him there. He went along with the society, went to prep school, went to Eton, went to the Burmese police, but suddenly realized that it was all absolute hooey and rubbish and nonsense, and he was against it. And then, of course, he started to write.
He used to sit down at 9 o'clock in a little back room. There was a table and writing things. And he used to write till 12. At 12 o'clock he'd throw everything down and go out and have a beer. Well, it didn't matter what he wrote as long as he wrote. He was forcing himself to write.
O Centro